What'd you do this for?
I'm so sorry. I really am.
I'm still gonna be there for her.
This is a generational curse that you have got to break right now, because the effects of your mistake can be your child going through the exact same thing you did.
Mrs. Thompson walks into court today yelling that she will never let her 11-year-old marriage die, even though she cheated on her husband back to back. Ooh, she's feisty. She says that her 4-month-old child definitely belongs to her husband, Mr. Thompson, and his doubts about the child are basically cuckoo and have zero truth to them. Let us listen to her talk her stuff.
It's very difficult. You know, I want Micah to be his son. I don't want to lose my best friend. We've been together for so long. And, you know, I just don't want to lose him.
All right. Well, take me back. I want to understand how this relationship began. Certainly, at some point, you all were happy together.
Yes.
Oh, she sounds really sad and definitely does not want to lose Mr. Thompson. But does Mr. Thompson buy this act? Well, he says that their relationship has been rocky, and Mrs. Thompson here is allergic to cooking and cleaning, whatever that means. But that's not really our business. Our business is this baby and the doubts Mr. Thompson has, and here they are.
I had found out she was doing some things that she shouldn't have been doing. Text messaging, meeting up with guys and stuff like that. So when I confronted her, she said it wasn't true. So when she said it wasn't true, I found out otherwise. I had to get a DNA test on my first two boys. We married, but every time while we're in a marriage, and every time you get pregnant, I gotta get a DNA test.
Yeah, that is a super weird arrangement you've got going on for you there, Patna. You can't be DNA testing all your kids. And if you do, don't be surprised that you one day end up in paternity court facing Judge Lauren. But what does Lil Mrs. Thompson, who does not want her marriage to end, know about all of this?
I was going to ask the same question.
You know, I don't understand.
What happened in this relation?
Honestly, Your Honor, I think when we first got married, we really weren't ready to be married.
You didn't understand the depth of the commitment and the responsibility of marriage.
Exactly.
Okay.
This is why I felt went wrong in the marriage.
Okay, valid, but a very weird reason to cheat. Seriously, that is such a super weird answer, Mrs. Thompson. What do you mean you did not get married at the right time, so your marriage got rocky, so you stepped out? Women, am I right? Anyway, Mr. Thompson has a few more interesting comments here.
Me and LaToya had ample opportunities where I came to LaToya and I was like, listen here, you're not doing certain things in the marriage that should be going on. You're not working. If you're not gonna work, I need you to cook, clean, you know, we need to have sex on the regular, you know, things like that.
But was it just on her to fix, or was it both of you all?
But the thing about it is she really don't talk, so she don't tell me my fault.
Yeah, this is paternity court, not couples counseling, so I will be needing the both of you to pack it up and get right to the point right about away. Mrs. Thompson insists that their marriage was super great until one day, for no reason at all, Mr. Thompson decided to get out to get some milk, and Mr. Thompson says the milk was really good too.
When I left, she said she was gonna work on herself. Me and her had ample conversations.
While he was with somebody else.
About her working on herself. She was working on herself because she deleted me off social media. I found out she started adding all these other dudes to her social media page.
Because you were gone. You were living with somebody else.
Really? Really? Okay, so why should she not move on then? But Mr. Thompson does have a reason to be angry, because he came back to be with her, and they decided to work on their marriage. And then Miss Thompson went to Atlanta for a supposed job interview. But it wasn't no job interview. It was her interestingly viewing another man.
She was like, well, we went out and my friend took my phone and she said, we out, so you don't need to be on the phone. I'm like, man, you married, you got kids, and what woman gonna tell you some trash like that?
So once she came back, how did you find out that she had been sleeping with someone else?
Well, I already knew what she was going to do. I didn't have no proof, but I knew what she was going to do. Now,
is that what you were going to do, Miss Thompson?
I can't even lie about it. Yeah, it was.
Now that's the first time.
Phew, and there you have it, folks. And Mrs. Thompson did not go for this interview just once. She went back a week later. That is why Mr. Thompson thinks baby Pate Thompson belongs to another man and not him. But what does Mrs. Thompson have to say for herself? She must have something, right? Yes, she does, and boy oh boy, it is spicy too.
Yes, it's true, Your Honor, but he skips over all the stuff that he did. Besides the going back and forth all summer between me and the other girl, and then moving all the way to Alabama with the girl and leaving me with the kids. But he wanted to talk about one time when he had the kids and they were looking for me.
Wow, Mrs. Thompson sure can give it hot. So now we have got two adults who cheated on one another, and the best way to see if this marriage can stay a marriage is see if the DNA test proves that this baby boy belongs to Mr. Thompson.
Mr. Thompson, you are not the father. I know that's not what you wanted to hear. How are you feeling in this moment?
I had already accepted the situation when I knew he wasn't, but it's to actually know he's not mad, it just hurts a little bit more. The other dude don't want nothing to do with him, but like I said, I can't let another child grow up without a father.
Mr. Brown says found a sex tape of his wife with another man, and now he's saying that he is 100% certain he isn't the father of her 11-month-old child, Amira. Ms. McKinney, who is also pregnant, is screaming that that's a lie and that Mr. Brown must step up as he is definitely Amira's dad. Here is how she puts it.
Of your wife with another man, you now intend to prove he fathered Amira. We'll meet that man in a moment, but first, Ms. McKinney, tell us why this court date is so important.
He's denying the fact that that's his daughter, and it's not about looks, it's about DNA. And I'm here today to prove and show that he is the father of Amira Brown.
Well, we'll see about that. Mr. Brown, on the other hand, has no doubts that the DNA test results will come back negative. He also thinks that the man who starred in that video with his wife may be the child's father.
Because when she was born, she did not look like me. And I waited, I gave it time to see how she would look, and more every day that I look and take pictures with Amira, she has his face, and it bothers me a lot.
So you feel Amira looks like the man you saw on the sex tape with your wife?
Yes, I do.
Wait, did Mr. Brown just accuse his wife of incest? That's insane. But how did he even get this tape that caused all of this? And how did Miss McKinney and this man act out such a tape?
The girls, they like snatching her phone. So they grabbed her phone before they could even get into the video. I grabbed it and it pressed play. And I seen the beginning of the video and I didn't see what I liked, so I just disclosed it. I didn't watch the whole video.
The video came up or you went looking to see what was in her phone?
They were scrolling through her pictures, whatever. And before they could even get to it, I grabbed the phone.
Oh, because you knew it was something inappropriate.
Yeah, it didn't look right. It didn't look right. It looked like a video. So, you know, I clicked on it. I didn't like what I seen and I disclosed it.
Sheesh, 10 times. Gosh, things are starting to look insane. And the man who's in the tape is in court today, and he doesn't mince words at all. It's straight to the point with this guy.
Well, when I first met Miss McKinley, we was talking on the dating site, and the day I met her, Mr. Brown was present, but they wasn't together. But I seen them face to face.
Oh, the day you met her in person?
Yes.
He was there?
Yes.
So how did the sexual relationship start with Miss McKinney?
Me and Miss McKinley been having sex.
It's Miss McKinney.
Oh, Miss McKinley.
I don't know about you, but that doesn't sound like just 10 times. The real number is probably double that, at the very least. Anyway, Miss McKinney got pregnant, and here is what she told everyone.
And she's ready to give birth.
So who did she say the father was?
She didn't tell me
I said it was complicated.
I believe it was complicated because, like I said,
I was back and forth with him and him.
that sex
back
tape
and forth.
was April 9th, and Amira was born April 9th.
Did that math add up?
No.
No, that maths didn't add up at all. So Ms. McKinney was acting out a tape on the day she gave birth? What? Really? At 9 months pregnant? That's insane. The funny thing is that before Ms. McKinney gave birth, Mr. Brown already knew that something fishy was going on. Here is how he puts it.
There, I was present.
And then when you found out, did you say, oh, I'm so excited, or did you say, is this my child?
First, I was like, oh yeah, I'm excited. And then when we went to the hospital back in September, they would say she was 11 weeks pregnant. And then when they told her the due date,
It was 12 weeks.
Yeah, 12 weeks. 12 weeks pregnant, actually.
Okay, Mr. Spidey Senses, you felt something you want right and decided to do something about it. Mr. Brown was present at the birth and made sure not to sign for the birth certificate even though he was legally married to Ms. McKinney. Once he saw the baby, he thought something was wrong, and he explains how in this long, crazy long, almost schizophrenic rant.
I said, hey, when I was born, I was pale. But wait, look at her lip. Why does her lip look so fat? That's not my lip. My lip does not look like that. Oh, no, it does not. So from that time in, I put it in my head, I'm like, wait, okay, if she's not mine, then she gotta be Mr. Jonathan's child, because she started looking more and more like him.
Wow, you can clearly see why Mr. Brown feels so strongly that this child isn't his. He has done a full scientific study on this stuff. He knows it in his heart, and there's nothing anyone can do to change his mind. And now, to blow your mind, guess what?
And not only that, she's pregnant with my child now, so it's like,
You said now you're having another baby?
Yeah.
I may be the father, right?
No, that's my child.
But let me ask you, could you be the father?
No.
Oh, thank goodness. Okay. So, do you believe you are Amira's father?
No, I do not.
When's the last time you were intimate with Miss McKinney?
2017 of April.
Oh, so it's scientifically improbable that this other fellow is the father. Does that mean that Mr. Brown could end up being the father after everything? That would be crazy. Let's see what the DNA test has to say about this.
Mr. Fowler, you are not the father.
Thank you. I really appreciate you. Thank you.
He's not the father, Mr. Brown.
Okay, I was like to say I apologize.
Mr. Brown, you are not the father. McKinney, are you okay?
What just happened? So neither man fathered Amira, so who is the father then? There's a third man in the mix? If there's a third man, why didn't Ms. McKinney let us know? Well, there's nothing left for her to do but cry about her sorry fate.
Jerome, help her. Jerome, help her. Jerome will help you up, Miss McKinney, and I want you to sit in the chair. Someone call the medic, please.
Mrs. Graves might have been fast and loose when she was younger, but today she wants her husband to step up and start acting like a father to her 19-year-old daughter. This is despite the fact that 2 other men could possibly be the girl's father. Here is how she puts it.
I feel like he kind of punishing me and my daughter. You know, he
Punishing you how?
like the way he treats it. You know, I mean, he's not the man that he should be for the family.
What is he punishing you for?
We had a DNA for my first daughter. It was 22 years ago, and he took care of her for a whole year. And I was always honest. I always told him there was for her as well.
Okay, this is getting confusing. Let's recap. 22 years ago, Ms. Graves had a daughter, and it was proven that Mr. Baker isn't the father of her daughter. And now she says he's punishing her and her second daughter for that by claiming he isn't the second child's father, too. But Mr. Baker says he is just showing tough love. How exactly does he show this tough love? Here's how.
Explain, how does he treat your daughter? Why are you saying, what is this tough love you're talking?
He's saying tough love, but he cusses her. I mean, he's rude.
Mr. Baker, why are you cursing a 19-year-old girl? What is this behavior?
I mean, verbal words come out due to the fact that, you know, hey, she felt like I hurt her. So,
he does me the same.
Now we are getting somewhere. Ms. Graves says this entire thing is affecting her marriage to him, and that Mr. Baker must get his act together. This is so much baggage for a family to carry for over 20 years, right? Wait, they've been married this whole time, right?
You two have been in a relationship for almost 22 years.
No.
No, ma'am.
We've been dealing with each other for 22 years.
No, ma'am.
Okay, I think that's what I meant, but
Yeah.
thank you for the clarification.
Yes, ma'am.
No, I appreciate that. But what I want to make clear is you were not married until later on.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. It's making sense now. Ms. Graves says when she told Mr. Baker that, hey, this child might look like you, he started cursing her out and belittled her in front of all his family members. Mr. Baker, on the other hand, says no one ever told him the child could be his. And he has more allegations for Ms. Graves.
I mean, you were with other guys at the time. I was with other people. So
It didn't
you just
matter.
Can't just say
You were a
basically-
possibility, so you should have said okay and went on with it.
All
But
right,
Mr.
okay.
We
Baker,
wouldn't be
do you
here today.
do you remember this instant when you were on and off? At some point, she came to you and said, I think Vanisha is your daughter. Do
I
you
don't
remember that?
I don't remember as far as like, you know, just saying.
You don't remember
basically-
cussing me out in front of your mom?
It kind of looks like Mr. Baker remembers, to be honest, but it's not a couple's case on paternity court if husband and wife don't start screaming at each other in court.
Okay,
You've
but
never told-
what about when she was 10?
When she was 10.
And we were together,
Okay.
and she was calling you
You
daddy.
told me that she was my father. I mean, I
No,
was her father.
you told me
You
that
told
she
me that.
looked like you.
Okay,
It was similarity.
I said that.
Okay.
I know I said
Okay,
that.
then.
But I didn't
So
say,
he
did
been
you say
knowing
that
it.
I was her father? I mean, you know, when you see a child and you look at a child, you look at him and you be like, okay, well.
Yeah, she's right. But is Ms. Graves forgetting that she's the one who was sleeping with different men when she conceived her child? This is insane. But you kind of get where Ms. Graves is coming from when she says this.
Mistake after mistake after mistake has led us here. I mean, we're separated right now. I went to my mom's house for 2 weeks just to clear my mind. I have terminal cancer. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't even know how to treat me with that. He's not compassionate. He cussed me out. You know, I'm doing chemo, and right before I do the chemo, we're arguing.
Wow, this is one nutty family. Mr. Baker may have some legitimate grievances, but he's going about them in probably the wrongest way possible. It really doesn't look like this marriage is going to stand the test of time. Anyway, Judge Lauren gives Mr. Baker a good talking to for his behavior.
You married this woman 4 years ago
Yes,
after
ma'am.
22 years of on and off involvement.
Yes.
Now she's dealing with a very serious medical situation.
Yes, Your Honor.
Surely you understand
I do. I mean, I really
that
do.
arguing and getting her upset doesn't do anything for her health, for her care. You understand that,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, Mr. Baker may have a point, but right now he's getting on all our nerves, not just Judge Lauren's. Now let's get into Mr. Baker's doubts. Why doesn't he think Vanisha here is his kid?
Same time, the timing, it could match up and it could not match up.
The 2 other men, how did you find out about these
I mean,
two
she
other
told
men?
me about him. Miss Graves told me about him.
What did she tell you?
She said that it could be a possibility that 2 other guys that she's involved with could be the father of Miss Curl. And I was like,
And so, Ms. Graves, you did admit to him that there were 2 other potential fathers.
Yes, ma'am.
So Ms. Graves here is kind of playing the victim. She's asking so much of Mr. Baker while asking little or nothing from the other men who might be her kid's father. That's just not how it works. Here is why Ms. Graves thinks her daughter is Mr. Baker's.
It was because of the conception and then the resemblance. You know, when she was 10 years old, we got back into a relationship. At that time, he started seeing things. Look at her eyes, look at her nose, look at her, you know, it was always to her walk, the way she walked and all of that. It was always something.
These guys clearly have some deep-rooted issues they have to work through, and one way to do that is by getting them the DNA test results they desperately need. And here is what that test result says.
Mr. Baker, you are not her father.
you're my daughter no matter what. Okay? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. I just want to...
Rachel Chappell is a married woman who stepped out of her marriage because her husband simply didn't please her in the bedroom. That's right, and she admits to it too. Now, she's in court to see if her husband is the father of her baby. Mr. Chappell is also in court to see the results. And here is what Ms. Chappell has to say to him.
We got engaged 4 months later. We got married on Valentine's Day. We had a son together, probably about a year later. I started getting bored with our sex life. I kept telling him and telling him and telling him. I said I wanted to change it.
No, it takes 2 people.
Well, if I tell you that we needed to change it, we needed to change it because I wasn't happy sexually.
I'm working 40 hours a week. I'm trying to provide for you and my son.
Yikes. The point of getting married is that you don't get to step out to find out whether there's someone else who can give you what you want in the bed. Maybe Ms. Chappell didn't get that memo, and now her marriage is on the brink of collapse. But at least she regrets it. Who?
Do I regret it? Yes, I do. I do regret it every day, but I don't regret my daughter. She's the best thing that's ever happened to me.
And so you admit to having an affair.
Yes, I did.
How did that start?
Well, he was a friend and we started sexting and I would hide it. We would send messages on Facebook. I'd drop my son off at the babysitter's. I would tell my husband I was going somewhere else.
This is so embarrassing. Can you imagine being in Mr. Chappell's shoes? Having your wife testify that you just don't bring it in bed in open court? I would literally die from that embarrassment. That's for sure. It's a miracle Mr. Chappell is still standing. Now let's talk about the window of conception and who the father could be.
Well, I have the calendar to show I had sex with both of them on the same day at one point.
Yeah.
Okay. Jerome, will you please hand me that evidence, please? Can't get any closer in proximity than that. Green, we have the days you were intimate with the other potential father.
Yes.
Which is inside the window of conception, which is outlined in pink here.
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, things are not getting any clearer here. And you'd think, well, Ms. Chappell here is a married woman. She's surely having protected intercourse with the man she's having an affair with, right?
It was always unprotected sex. I figured he would pull out, but he never did. And I would tell him constantly, I don't want to get pregnant, I don't want to get pregnant, and he would never listen to me.
Your Honor, she had
Mr.
unprotected...
Chappell,
she had
how does it
unprotected-
feel to hear this? This is a lot of information.
It makes me
And
sick.
this is your wife?
Yeah, and I'm working 40 hours a week trying to provide for my family.
You know, I messed up and you can't just blame it all on me.
This is insane. Despite all of this, Mrs. Chappell is taking absolutely no responsibility for her behavior. No accountability, nothing. The DNA test has to quickly put Mr. Chappell out of his misery right now.
Mr. Chappell, you are not her biological father.
What'd you do this for?
I'm so sorry. I really am.
I'm still gonna be there for her.
That's exactly what this court wanted to hear.